Welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week series of My Wednesday, where we talk to fans of our club and find out what following the Owls means to them. This week we've got Olympic modern pentathlete with us, Katy Livingstone. I think that's the first time we've had an Olympian on. How are you, Katy?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks. So a little bit about Katy. I think from my research, you finished 7th at the 2008 Olympics.
I actually got promoted to 6 because there was
Right.
someone got done for having drugs. So I officially got moved up to 6. I got a new certificate and everything. But yeah, I was 7th on the day.
That's great. And that's where I want to start, actually, because from what I've read and found out, there was a little bit of a Wednesday anecdote at that Olympics.
Yeah, so just in there's a big Olympian fan. He's called Mark Hazelhurst, and he got tickets for the pentathlon. And as I was doing my running warm up, he was in the stadium, and I noticed he came wearing his Wednesday shirt. And just by pure good luck, he was sat quite close to my parents. So my dad spotted him and went over to speak to him. And they've become friends now. So even 2 weeks ago, when I took my son to his first match, we met up with Mark before the game, which was a bit surreal, really, considering it was, 15 years ago now?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that was really nice to see.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's an amazing story, really. That the look to be sat near your parents in the stadium that big as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. It could, tickets could have put him anywhere, but he's met up with my
Yeah.
dad at various stadiums around the world now at sporting events. So yeah, it was a little bit of luck. That's kind of nice story.
Yeah, that's amazing. So let's take it back to the start, because for most Wednesday fans, at least, I've probably seen 95% of us, it's all, my dad took me, but it was just round the corner. It was 10-15 minutes, so it was a little bit different for you. It was a little bit of a further journey. So tell us how you got into it.
So my dad grew up in Sheffield. I've still got family there. His brothers are still there. And he was just always a big Wednesday fan. And I can't really remember anything except for coming in to the room on a Saturday saying, "Oh, how are we doing today, Dad?" And it was when we were third in the Division 1, which was obviously the top league back then in the early 90s. And yeah, and he took me to my first game when I was 8, which was Coventry, and it was a 1-1 draw. I can't remember much about it, to be honest, but he remembers it all, in 1992. So that was my first experience. And then from then on, he took me to a few games every season, which I loved.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, you've said about your memory from the first game. What were your favourite players growing up? We say about this quite a lot on the podcast, because I'm 22, so I've physically never seen Wednesday in the Premier League, whereas we've then got Fudge and Ash and Simon. And Simon especially would joke that his first favourite players were in black and white and stuff like that. Yeah. Who were your favourite players growing up?
Well, so I'm 39. So I remember clearly last time we were in the Premiership, because we got relegated the year I left school, and everyone in my year group destroyed me in my school yearbook, my leavers book, because they were all Middlesbrough fans. So we had this fierce rivalry. So yeah, I do remember that. But Nicholas Alexanderson, I used to him that team back then. The team that I remember from physically going to watch them play. He was a favourite of mine. I think I liked his blonde hair at the time. And then yeah, I was actually at the game where the Di Canio pushed the referee over. I was sat with my dad when we beat Arsenal 1-0. So Di Canio was one of my favourites, and then he never played with us again. So didn't stick with me, that one.
Yeah. And I suppose moving forward to now, this current squad, who would you say that you'd really think are the standouts of this squad?
Oh gosh, they're all so good. I'm just loving it this season. The way that they all play together. The squad gets rotated. It doesn't seem to matter. They're all like one team. I mean, Barry Bannan's always going to be a favourite, just captain, like his loyalty with us last season and previous, and stuck with us. I don't know. I just can't. I find it really hard to pick. They're all bringing something. They're all bringing something. Even like the substitutes, like Stockdale on the bench. Like, you know, I never thought I would like have like a soft spot for like a reserve goalkeeper.
Especially with Stockdale, because I don't think I'm the only one when we signed him that I'm not too keen on him, especially at Wycombe the last couple of years how they played. But it's all well and good, isn't it? I think time wasting and stuff like that, and that sort of trickery when it's on your side.
Yeah, definitely. And just the way he's like supporting the players on the pitch is just like really nice to see.
Yeah, he seems to have taken on a role a bit bigger than just being obviously first choice for the first half of the season, but then Cameron Dawson's come in, but he's taken on a role more on the touchline really that we've seen, especially the last few games. He seems to be quite vocal and he seems to be playing quite a big part off the pitch as well as what he did on it in the first half of the season. Traveling a little bit further, what's your current match day routine? I know you said obviously you brought your son to your first game a couple of weeks back. It must be great to now be bringing the next generation and it going well at the moment.
Yeah, well, he's 5 now, and if I'm honest, I didn't think I'd be bringing a 5-year-old to the football. I thought, because it's a 4-hour trip for us, so a long journey.
Yeah.
90 plus minutes of football for a 5-year-old. I wasn't going to do it until I knew he'd actually sit and watch it, because I'd get irritated if I had to take him out halfway through. But he's been sports mad since he was born. And about a few months ago, I do my ironing on a Saturday. I try to anyway, put my boys in front of the TV, and I've got Jeff Stelling on my phone on the video printer, and he stood for 40 minutes watching the video printer, waiting for the Sheffield Wednesday badge to pop up. So I was like, and that's it. I know he's ready. He's ready. So I spoke to my husband, because my husband works on Saturdays, so that's why I can't get to matches. I've got a 3-year-old as well, and we picked out a match for half term. Got him in the car, and it was brilliant. I loved it so much. My dad came as well, so it was the 3 of us, 3 generations.
That's great. What game was it?
It was the MK Dons, so I really thought I'd cursed us when that first goal went in. I was worried about going anywhere, having not been. I just thought, this is the game they're going to lose. I'm driving all that way with Sam's first match, but obviously the squad's too good. Oh, it was a happy ending.
Yeah, I mean, I'd read the article I think that you'd done with Joe from the Star, and that were obviously you'd said about, because you obviously hadn't taken your son at that point, and you said, "Oh, we're just being relegated, but I'll keep pretending that we're half decent." And now, a lot changed. It must be better to be taking him now than if we'd have been able to go a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and I also thought I'd take the opportunity while we're doing well for him to see a good match with us. 5-year-olds, they just want to see goals and a win, don't they? They don't really know exactly what's going on, or the 0-0 match versus Ipswich, we were all pleased with a point there, but he wouldn't have been very happy as that is his first match. So I thought this season is a really good opportunity to take him and see a win, rather than, if we get promoted, we should now, but I don't like to say that. I mean, the chances of going on an unbeaten run like this is much lower. So I'm glad I did now. But now he wants to go again.
That's it. Have you got plans to be going again? Maybe Derby, possibly at the end of the season. We might.
Exactly. I need to look at when the school holidays are, because that's the only chance I get to go, just me and him. But possibly. I thought it would be a one-off, but now I'm itching to get back. So we'll be looking at maybe the ones April.
It'll be away games as well before long.
Yeah, but I can't get tickets. That's my problem.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Especially maybe next season, allocations will be a little bit bigger, but
true. Yeah. I used to go to a lot of away games, and I was thinking before I came on here how I managed to get tickets, but I don't know if they just weren't in demand as much. I've been to so many away games, all over the country as well, but
What are your favourite memories then of going away? Because for me, away games have always been, not that I love going to Hillsborough, of course you do, but I think away games are that little bit more special. You see the same faces, you see the same people that spend the time traveling across the country. So yeah, what's it like going away from home, do you think?
I went to, my favourite away match is we went to Leicester when we won 4-1, and at least 3 of the goals were like absolute screamers. It was Brunt and Whelan.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to be at that match. I think it must have been like December time. I went with my dad and my sister. Again, I don't know how we ended up there, to be honest. My dad would have just asked if I wanted to go. So that was a really great match. And then, well, it's not really an away match, but the playoff final in 2005, I was there on that day, which was, one of my highlights of my following Sheffield Wednesday. But no, I've been to Cardiff a few times, been in the Southwest. I've been to the Bristol clubs. Me and my dad went to Brighton once, but couldn't get away tickets, so we sat in the home end. And it was a match we needed to win to avoid relegation. And we were a bit late, and we heard a big cheer, and we assumed it would be a home cheer. We got in the crowd, sat there, saying to the Brighton fans next to us, "Oh, have they scored? We scored then?" And they were like, "Oh no, it was them." We were like, "Oh God." We got to sit on our hands. It was awful. I'm never doing that again.
No,
never. And then we scored again to secure our place in the championship, and the Wednesday fans are going mad, and we just had to sit absolute quiet. It was horrible.
Yeah, do you have any other sort of memories going away from home? Probably not so much recently, but you've said the Hartlepool one in the playoff final and Brighton and Leicester. What were your first away game?
Oh, you know what? I wouldn't know. It might have been Borough, maybe.
Yeah,
I'd have to ask my dad. My dad can't remember quite obvious memories of me and my sister as children. Yet ask him who was the goal scorer at my first ever Wednesday match, and he can tell me the date, the time the goal was scored. He can recall it like the Sheffield Wednesday detail. It's crazy. So I'll have to ask him that question, actually. I know I went to Borough when I was quite younger, just being local.
Yeah.
So that would be my guess.
And what was it like following Wednesday while you were sort of competing? And because I'm in certain sport, I'm CrossFit really, and since I've taken more of that on, following Wednesday's become less from it. While it's still there, you don't quite feel as connected. But how did you sort of have that balance of competing at the highest level while following Wednesday?
Well, we had Saturday afternoons off, so it was quite easy actually. That's how I used to get to way more games, because having no children and the whole weekend, we used to train on a Saturday morning, but be finished by about 10:30. So I could easily just jump in my car and drive to wherever I wanted. So I think I was probably, I probably saw about 6 or 7 games a season then, home and away, back in my competing days. Yeah. And also, I had a boyfriend at the time who was a big Hartlepool fan. Yeah. And he used to like going to the football. So we'd be able to go to like Hartlepool and Sheffield Wednesday. I remember when, I don't know if it still is, League One, last day of the season is like Saturday and Championship is Sunday. And we'd go to like a Hartlepool game on the Saturday and then Sheffield Wednesday on the Sunday. So, it was quite easy to follow. That was also made the playoff final a bit interesting as well.
Yeah, I bet it did. I mean, we've covered more things there. Just in terms of quite a big question, quite a broad question, but what does Sheffield Wednesday mean to you? Because it's for most people, you think it's just the game, it's just a football, but it's more than that, isn't it? What does it mean to you?
It is. It puts you in a slightly bad mood if they lose. Like, and it can, like, Saturday evenings just are so much. You just feel lighter when you've had 3 points, which is obviously, it's not just a football match when that happens, is it? I work in a primary school in Bath, where there isn't really a strong connection to any football teams. So I get a bit. I find it quite frustrating when all the kids at school are like Man City, Man U, Liverpool, Chelsea. Even some like foreign teams. I try and give them lectures quite regularly, actually, on how the fact that they'll never understand like the joy of promotion until you've like suffered relegation, and they just stare at me with blank faces because they just don't have a clue what it's like. They get sad if their team's like sixth in the Prem, but to like follow a team that goes up and down, and like I don't know, it just brings out your emotions, doesn't it? You really feel it all, and there's nothing that can compare. I think if you're not actually a true fan of a club, you don't understand how it feels.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, for me personally, as I say, I was born in September 2000, so that was 4 months after we went down. So I've seen my first game were around 2005, just after we'd gone up. So I've seen the outbreak against Palace 2009, sort of 10, and back up against Wycombe, which obviously, a great memory. But then back down again now. But hopefully it's looking up. Do you think we've spoke about it a little bit already? But in terms of getting promoted this season, do you think what do you think of Darren Moore to start with? Do you feel he can then build on that and keep building towards the Premier League, hopefully?
Yeah, I mean, bear in mind, I've seen one game this season live. I'm not going to pretend I've been to any more, but I follow Twitter religiously every Saturday or whenever there's a match on. I watch when it's on Sky. I'm there in front of the TV. But the one thing that strikes me this season is just the fans' love for Darren Moore, and it's just so refreshing because even when we've had good managers, I feel like the last feel-good vibe with a manager is Carlos, and he was my favourite manager of all time, but Darren Moore's definitely overtaken him. I just like admire the way he's put the feel-good factor back into the club. Yes, it's League One, but who cares? It's like, this is what you want to feel. You want to feel good about your team. And I think that he can just keep on going, because if the players believe in him, why would you change him? Like, he can, just because the level of football is slightly higher. I mean, we've beaten Newcastle this year. It's not like we can't compete with him as leading us against the bigger teams.
Yeah, and there were a point probably last season and even this season, unwarranted really, but where some felt he want the man for the job after even just a couple of draws. It's always been it's been a tough gig for Darren Moore. I think that it even where we are now, yeah, it's brilliant, but for some it's still it's League One. We should be doing well in League One, which yeah, we should, but it's quite incredible what he's done in such a short period of time. And just to relate back to that article he did with the Start, at that point, we couldn't really been lower. And I think that we all felt a little bit, we're going down to League One and we don't really feel like we're going to bounce back. And in a couple of years, he's really changed it around, hasn't he?
I just think, I used to, you seasons go by and you look at the teams at the top that just keep on winning. And I've always like never believed that we would be in that position, because you don't really believe things that will happen to like you or your club when you see others doing it. And I was just like, and what does that feel like to just keep on winning and be at the top? And now we all know. And I think like a lot must be down to Darren Moore, because a lot of the players are the same from last year. I know we've got new recruits, but it's the core. There's core players there that are the same, and they just look really happy.
And that recruitment's been from him, really. The players that he's brought in over the last couple of years, he completely changed the side around that went down the side that so different to this one. Most of that side really wanted away. I think that that didn't really want to be at Wednesday anymore. You think of some of them that were there, Adam Reach, Tom Lees, John Rose. None of them really wanted to play for the club and being replaced by Aidan Flint. For me, well, you think Adam Reeks being replaced by George Byers sort of thing. You know, it was completely different now. Darren Moore's changed it around, which it's good that things are looking up. Right, we'll leave it there. Katy, thank you for joining us. That's been fantastic to speak to you. Great to hear your memories and what Wednesday means to you. So yeah, this has been another episode of My Wednesday. Hope you've enjoyed it. Tune in for the next one.